Hi, my name is Eduardo Ox. I'm the author of an Emacs package called EEV, and this video is about some very technical things about Emacs Lisp, Common Lisp. Sly and Slime are related to Common Lisp, and Maxima is built on top of Common Lisp. And here is a very short summary. When we are in a Lisp buffer, in a Common Lisp buffer, and we insert a test block there are several ways, or several variants of ways to insert test blocks there, and one of the ways inserts this big thing here. And this video is going to be about this detail here. This B means that we are handling something that is badly behaved, something that is a black box that we will have to use special tricks to handle it. And that also means beware. So the video is about that B. Imagine that we are writing some code in Common Lisp, and we want to debug each of the functions that we write on the fly as we write it. I started with these two functions here. Note that my major mode is Lisp, and if I insert a test block here with EEIT for insert test block, the default is this. But we are interested in some variants here, and if we run metax EEIT with some invalid numeric prefix, it shows us several options. The options are these ones here. Let me copy them from the messages buffer to a comment here, and I'm going to discuss some of these variants. But I'm going to need a smaller font for that. So the obvious variant is using EEIT with no prefixes at all. We get this, and it calls SBCL, and I can test it in the obvious way. For example, if we run this, it opens a target buffer running SBCL here. It loads this file. Everything went well, and now I can test my function. Now, the first interesting variant is how to run this Lisp function in Maxima. So let me try. Meta3, metax EEIT, it inserts a different test block. This thing here looks redundant. We have two loads. We have to decide which one to use, or we can leave both. The thing is that sometimes we prefer this one because we don't want to enter from to go from Maxima to the Lisp interpreted inside Maxima, and sometimes we want to use this one because we want better error messages. But let me try. If I run this thing here, Maxima loads this file here, and everything is okay. And this function here that starts with $, can be called from Maxima. So if I run bar23, the result is 23. Until now, everything is quite simple. But what happens if I run this prefix here, for metax EEIT, gives me this big thing. Let me show how this thing works. No, sorry, don't want that one. I want the other one with 5. Sorry. This one. I'm going to uncomment these things here because they're going to be useful in this demo here. These first three expressions here, they create a Common Lisp expression, a target buffer running Sly in Common Lisp. Let's try. We have to wait a bit. Here, Sly. These other three expressions create a target buffer running Maxima, and it loads a file that I have that defines the way of connecting to a Slime server. And this one is the mysterious part. It has this B here. That means that this thing is a black box, that I didn't know a good way to handle that black box, so I'm going to handle it in a special way in which a part of the work is delegated to the user. So it also means beware. It means user, please beware. You're going to have to do some special things here. So if I run this line here, it takes a few seconds, and it creates a target buffer that is in the wrong place. It's here in that window and not at the window at the right. Now I'm at the target buffer, and I have to type F9 to signal to EEV that this is the target buffer, and it does this. The EAPHP had saved that the source buffer is here. When I type F9, it shows the target buffer here at the window at the right, and now everything is okay. Now I have to do something very technical that creates another buffer. And if I run this, EEV shows all the targets that I have now. I can switch between all these targets. So this is Maxima that have load, that's link, that is the thing that connects to Sly. This is the target that was created by Sly before it connected to Maxima, and this is the part of Slime that is connected to Maxima. This function here that shows all these targets is just for debugging and for explaining things. It's not very useful. And if I run this one, it shows only these two targets, the top one and the bottom one. These ones are the ones that are useful. The middle one is not. It's not so. It's just a curiosity. So this is the targets that I'm interested in. And if I delete the other windows and I use these functions here, I can select between the other targets and show only one target at the window at the right. And typically I'm going to run this to load this file here into Maxima from Lisp, or I'm going to run this and load the thing from Maxima. I gave a presentation at the EmacsConf 2025 9 days ago, and one of the main themes of my presentation was different notions of simplicity, and how EEV is based on a certain notion of simplicity that makes all sense to me, and apparently it makes sense to very few other people. One of the slides was this one, in which I compared how lambdas were represented until some time ago, and with what changed, and how lambdas were changed to be represented internally by some opaque objects that look like arrays like this. And another slide that I used was this one, in which I tried to explain some ideas behind my notion of simplicity. And I said that my working memory is small, so I need something that is compatible with not being able to memorize many things. And I need examples, and I make lots of mistakes when I type. And I added to this page several links to messages from the Emacs Devel mailing list by Alan McKenzie. I have the impression that Alan McKenzie has a notion of simplicity that is very similar to mine. And in this message here, 559, he says that he says something very similar to what I say in my presentation. And I want to discuss a part of one of these messages. One of the sections of my page about my presentation at the EmacsConf is this one, section 4 at this moment. And note that it starts with this. My tendency when I think that I have to explain my notions of simple, elegant, fun, easy, hard, and overwhelming is to think that I have to explain all of them, all these notions, in a few lines. And that is too hard. One alternative is to quote other people and use links. And in this section, I collected several links to messages that Alan McKenzie sent to the mailing list, and I'm going to discuss one part of one of his messages. This one, 349, that is here. And I this is the part that is interesting to me now. With simple, straightforward macros, blah, blah, I have no trouble. This lack of memory of mine makes working with these macros and function Emacs arduous and unrewarding. And blah, 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 blah. But if blah, 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 blah had been documented to the customary Emacs standard, I would have finished the task. Let me go back to my Lisp file. Remember that these are the variants of test blocks for Lisp files. And remember that I'm using Sly here. That is a fork of Slime that is much less popular than Slime. Why am I using Sly here? I started trying to use Slime, but I had some problems. And these problems are explained in the source code of this function. So let's go there. meta h, meta f. Let's go to the links for this function here, and this link will take us to the source code of that function. Let me go up to the comments here. Some targets for EEPeach, like EEPeach Sly and these are the things that doesn't matter to us now, are hard to write because things like this one doesn't work. This part of the expression here returns too soon, but Sly keeps running and keeps doing things in the background, including things that change the window configuration, and these things are done outside the save window execution, so I don't have a way to control what's happening here and make sure that everything is happening in a single window. I sent these issues to the Sly developers, but they didn't answer in a very useful way, and in 2022, 30 December 2022, I finally found a way to create a shell-like function, that is something that EEPeach expects, that opens a REPL for Sly in the current window, reusing a current Sly if possible. The main idea was to replace this expression here, the Sly inside this thing here, by something that only returns when there's a typo here, when a certain hook, this hook here, is run, or when a timeout occurs. It was a pain in the ass to write this. It was several days of work, but it works. And I was never able to do something similar for Slime because the code for Slime is not as clean. It doesn't have that hook, and I didn't have help enough for doing that, and I gave up. Which is similar to what Alan McKenzie says here. It says, but if blah 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 blah, I would have finished the task. That was my problem with Slime. I discussed a bit the idea of black boxes in my presentation at the DemacsConf. And Slime was a black box in the sense that I could open it, I could see the pieces, I could see how they worked, but it was very complex for me. I couldn't understand that, and I couldn't change it or hack it in the ways that I needed. So for some people that would not be a black box, but for me that was equivalent to the black box in the sense that I couldn't hack it. So I declared that it's that black box is black in a certain sense. For me, that box is black. Remember that here in this test block for Maxima and Slime, we had one B like this. That means black box, beware. The user has to type F9 to indicate that this is the target buffer, and so on. So the B means many things, but essentially it means beware, and it's a place in which we have to forget the problem that we are thinking of, and pay attention on certain things, to type F9 at the right time just to start Maxima, Slime, etc. Sly, etc. So I was discussing this thing here, Maxima and Sly, And if we try this variant here, Maxima and Slime, with metaphor IEET, we see that it has another B here. Let me delete the rest. This test block is much worse than the other one because to start Maxima and Slime, I need to type a series of F8s, and there are 2 places in which I have to pause, pay attention, type F9 at the right time, maybe answer some other prompts like a yes or no prompt or something like that. So it's very distracting. If you want to play with that, maybe because you've stumbled on some things that you would like to control with the ePitch but that look like badly behaved targets, my suggestion is forget Maxima for the moment, so delete this and focus on this thing here, ePitch blocks for Slime. Remember that if we run meta xet with no numeric arguments, we get the default test block. If we run it with an invalid prefix argument, we get this help message here. And if we run it with this prefix argument 1, meta xet, we get this ePitch block here that calls Slime. It has to do some tricks for deleting all the buffers of a previous instance of Slime. Then it has to starts Slime with this B here, meaning beware, and then it selects the Slime as the target buffer and so on. So my suggestion is try to understand this, and if it works, very nice. If you would like to chat with me, then very nice, please do. And at some point there will be many other variants of that for other things that I couldn't control with ePitch until some months ago because I didn't have this trick. I think that I'm going to stop the video at this moment because the other things that I want to explain will be better explained by just text, code, and screenshots. So that's it. Thanks.